Hi, my name's Jake Sawyers, and today I'm here with Visualise Training and Consultancy to talk about why the sight loss and eye care support sector urgently need to connect and work together so that patients with visual impairments, patients like myself, receive timely and efficient support at the time of diagnosis and ongoing help to move forward with their lives. So, there are currently 2 million people in the UK with sight loss, and that number is expected to double by 2050. And every day, 250 people start to lose their sight. So now is the time to start working together. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now, if patients' lives are to be improved. Part 1. How sight loss organisations can engage with eye care professionals. So today I am here with
Dan Williams and Visualise Training and Consultancy, and I'm a sight loss professional and also a low vision patient.
My name's Joshi Vasani. I'm a dispensing optician and I work with Dan.
So first we're going to talk about what sight loss organisations can do. So this is CEOs of the sight loss organisations. Who else are we talking to, Dan?
So anyone that works within the sight loss sector, really, what they can do better to engage with eye care professionals and eye care providers. Everyone needs to make visual impairment their responsibility and their business.
So the first thing we've got is to host open days and invite local eye care professionals to become volunteers.
It's really important to host open days so that eye care professionals can come in to your local charity or your local sight loss organisation to understand what services that you offer and have a look around your building, engage with the staff and the directors of the organisation to actually share what they're all about, what the organisation is about and how they refer patients into their sight loss organisation.
So a really great way to involve eye care professionals in your organisation is to just open your doors up, let them in, invite them round for a cup of tea.
So as we know, eye care professionals are busy people and actually they don't want to fill out loads and loads of forms to make a referral into a sight loss organisation. So it's about making your sight loss organisation referral form as simple as possible. Just the name and the phone number, and then the sight loss organisation can give the patient a call and ask them and do an assessment over the phone and find out more details.
So eye care professionals are busy people, as we all well know, so it will make it 100% easier if we just streamline that referral process. If we can refer easier, we can get the job done easier.
It's really important that you find out who your local regional society or committee is, and then you attend their events, and also making sure that your local or national sight loss charity is also listed on their website.
It's a key networking skill that we're talking about here. CEOs really do need to, make sure they step up to the mark and actually go right across the sector to connect with people, because it's the networking and the collaborative work that makes the difference, I think, for patients.
Also, get yourself out there, show off what you've got. There are local optical committees that I'm sure will be 100% happy to hear what you've got to offer.
As we're in a digital age, it's really important that eye care professionals keep up to date with what's going on with the local sight loss organisations. So signing up, getting eye care professionals to sign up to your newsletter will keep them interested, and every month they'll have an email telling them what's going on, telling them what opportunities are available in terms of volunteering, in terms of trustee roles, all of that type of information that eye care professionals need to engage with.
Lots of charities are engaging in research, and that needs to be, that needs to get out to all eye care professionals. Patients want to know what's going on in the world, where the therapies are.
So I think this is a really clever one, hiring out your training rooms to the eye care sector.
So many sight loss organisations have training rooms that are just sitting there empty. And many sight loss organisations are also strapped for cash. In terms of making your sight loss charity more commercial, why not rent out or hire your training rooms or your meeting rooms to eye care professionals that have training and events? That a lot of the eye care professionals, when they have training and events, they generally hold these meetings at hotels.
Why not rent your room to these local optical committees? That would be a great way to get the conversation started.
So a lot of sight loss organisations will have service users or members who are visually impaired that they could maybe send to local eye care providers to actually mystery shop their service and see how they are treated as a visually impaired person, how accessible their service is. Do they get referred on to help and support, or do they just get diagnosed and are left to fend for themselves?
Actually, as an eye care professional, it would be fantastic feedback for us to try and improve our services. But it's sometimes you sort of think, okay, there's so much to do. What's really important? So by Mystery Shopper giving us that specific feedback, it'd be really useful to find out, where we're falling down.
I've had both negative and positive experiences in my sight loss journey, but I think a great idea would be getting mystery shoppers out there and actually recording this feedback.
Eye care professionals are very good at what they do. They're talking about the eyes, but actually the eyes belong to a person, and the health is the whole body, and the important thing is to engage right across the board with all different allied health professionals to see where there is commonality and ground to work together.
Also, there's a whole host of allied health professionals that you should get involved with. For example, GPs, local diabetic clinics, nurses, stroke teams, and community foals and frailty. Inviting eye care professionals to join your board of trustees.
They can bring a different flavour and a different energy from a professional perspective. You know, if we have all the same people on the trustee board, then we're always going to get the same outcomes, and it's really important that we have a mix of people.
Sharing news stories and press releases with optical media.
Again, so sight loss organisations will have members that have maybe had a traumatic sight loss journey, or they've overcome adversity. And why not write a case study about their situation and send in the story into the optical press?
Why not engage with the optical press? I bet you've got some stories to tell that they'd be very interested in. Part 2. How eye care professionals can engage with sight loss organisations.
We need to be able to signpost people to the right places, and if the sight loss charity is not on the local optical committee or the regional optical committee or the ophthalmological society, then they're missing a trick.
And also, when eye care providers send out letters, why not also talk about the local or national sight loss organisation on the letter? We don't want to let any patient down by letting patients slip through the net.
You have a huge audience, and giving time for those local communities, those local organisations is really going to help them out and help the people you serve out as well.
So I actually met Dan at a visual impairment training that he was running, and it was a light bulb moment for me. You go home and you think to yourself, why as eye care professionals are we not doing this? Why are we not providing visual impairment training? Why are we not aware of how to look after people with sight loss? We need to know how to look after people with sight loss in the practice.
You will stand out from the crowd because a lot of blind and partially sighted patients will then want to come to your practice because they are confident that you know how to treat them in the best way because your staff have had the training.
Please make sure all your staff are trained. It's not hard, it doesn't take that much, but if I turn up somewhere and I know how to be guided, you know, I'm a lot more comfortable being there.
It's all well and good sending out letters for patients to tell them when their appointments are, but a lot of eye care professionals tell me that a lot of patients miss their appointments. And I think the question is, are patients missing appointments because they didn't see the letter in the first place?
You know, there's lots of different formats in terms of, you can send text reminders like you said, maybe that doesn't work for everyone, but braille, audio, you know, the important thing is you have to ask the patient at the time and say, do you have any accessibility needs? That's a simple question to ask.
So how would the eye care professionals go about getting these leaflets?
So again, if they contact their local sight loss organisation, they can send them leaflets, no problem. Just, you know, give them a ring. We've also got a resource pack on our website, so it's visualizetrainingandconsultancy.co.uk.
So sharing your literature, your leaflets, your posters is so important. Even if it doesn't affect someone directly, they might know somebody with a certain eye condition that they can pass that on to.
Eye care providers and media companies will run regular conferences, and it's about having representation from sight loss organisations at those conferences. It's about also making sure that patients have representation at these conferences as well. So bringing in patients at eye care conferences to speak about their personal experiences to make it more emotive and just remind people that actually it's patients at the heart of what everybody does. Also in terms of universities, so universities that run eye care courses, whether that's optometry, ophthalmology, making sure that patients have a voice in that course as well, so inviting patients along to actually speak.
Hello conference organisers, let's get some representation in these conferences. We want sight loss organisations, we want charities. I want to speak to as many people when I come to your conferences as possible.
So again, a lot of these sight loss organisations are struggling for cash. You know, why wouldn't an eye care professional and eye care providers actually look at their local or national sight loss organisations and fundraise for them?
And it also shows that you're engaging locally, and it's not just all about, you know, glasses and money and how much they are and all that side of things.
Do a fundraiser for your local sight loss organisation, jump on a bike, do a sponsored walk. It's going to be great PR for you and it's going to raise some money for those local sight loss organisations.
As a dispensing optician, we have to do case studies. We have to make a portfolio and do case studies. And of those, low vision is one of the competencies. And that's where sight loss charities can provide these patients with visual impairments. We're looking for patients, and the sight loss charities have the patients, and the connections there.
So how do you find out what local services are available?
Sometimes it can be quite confusing. There's lots of different sight loss organisations out there, lots of different sight loss professionals, but there is a really useful website called www.sightlinedirectory.org.uk, and you type in your patient's postcode and it will come up with all of the sight loss services in your area.
Get to know what services are out there. There's eye clinic liaison officers, rehab officers at the local sensory team. If you know what services are out there, you can refer your patients to those services.
There's lots of eye care providers that may have a free training room where these people with sight loss could actually get together and have their coffee morning.
Here's another one. We 100% know that you've got meeting rooms that are going unused some of the time. Why not rent out those spaces to local sight loss organisations and just people with sight loss?
We know that 72% of people with a visual impairment are unemployed, which is just an unacceptable figure. We know that people who have visual impairment are very, very talented. We know that people who can't see very well can use technology and all of these type of things. So why wouldn't eye care providers actually look at employing people with a visual impairment or help taking people on as, who are visually impaired on work experience so that they have some experience on their CV?
We have great problem solving skills, we're resilient, we know from first-hand experience what it's like to live with sight loss. Imagine having that experience on your team.
Refer them to help and support that they need. Don't get too hung up on how much they can see. The main thing is that they get referred to the eye clinic liaison officer or the local sight loss organisation, because that patient at that point needs help and support, because otherwise patients will just go home, and if they go home they get depressed and they potentially go through grief, they go through loss. If they don't get referred, they can't move on with their life.
That journey could take 10 weeks or you could be waiting 10 months, and in that time that patient is losing confidence, can't open their letters, they can't cook, they can't clean, they can't do all the things that you want to do. And that referral needs to be done at the start of that journey. At the same time as you refer to the ophthalmologist, why not refer the person to a sight loss charity?
So the time is now to start working better together to ensure patients with sight loss receive the correct support to move on with their lives.
Taya Pharmaceuticals are passionate about supporting charities and supporting people with sight loss, and I just want to say a thank you for Taya Pharmaceuticals' support on our Seeing Beyond the Eyes journey, and hopefully in 2020 that support will continue, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.